The topic I was assigned for my final presentation is the impact of computer technology on personal relationships. This topic, in my opinion, is well known by all human beings across the globe because we all, at some point of our lives, have used the internet as a source of communication amongst other people, whether in our neighboring cities and neighborhoods or people in various other countries across the globe. But at some point of our lives, in our everyday lives, we all have used the internet as a source of communication with people and have established quite some relationships with them. What I found interesting about this topic is that a large amount of people do rather prefer internet communication over face-to-face mutual communication and contact with people they potentially plan to establish a relationship with, just by the simple fact that some are intimidated by their potential life partner or potential friend because they're not as confident in themselves as approaching that person and having a conversation with them face to face as they would be if they were on an internet website or a dating website or social media communicating with that person. A lot of other people prefer to use the internet as a source of communication and establish relationships because they feel like using the internet is a way to kind of avoid some confrontation in case two people get into an argument because of something that someone may have said or just something that may have been said offensively to the other person. Is just they find the internet as an outlet and as a way to avoid confrontation amongst others. In my personal opinion, I prefer face-to-face communication. I'm very big on first impressions of people when I meet them face-to-face. I don't do too well with online relationships or trying to establish a relationship with someone online because I don't necessarily agree with how certain people may have these facades about them. Their portrayal over the internet is completely different from their portrayal in real life. I've actually personally been involved in an internet relationship with someone that I met, which I assume would have been a potential partner in my life, but I guess I could say things may have been taken for the turn when I actually met the potential mate in person, and just that perception, that portrayal that I received on the internet was definitely not the image that I got in face-to-face communication in real life. So that was a bit of a bad experience for me, and from that point on, I've much rather base my communication and establishing a relationship with people on a face-to-face communicating basis. Now, I can say that as far as meeting people face to face, I do communicate with them via text, or phone calls, and that nature. But that's commonly used as a way of communication amongst everybody else. But on the basis of doing like an online website and talking to someone over a website, that's just not something I would much rather prefer. I would agree with, in my opinion, because of the experience that I dealt with in my life. How this topic relates to my future career goals. Wouldn't necessarily say that it relates to my career goals because I'm a biology major. I'm more focused on the scientific aspects of life, and my career goals are focusing on medicine and anything involving science and being in medicine. But I can say that the internet may be as a positive impact on my life when establishing a relationship with someone, rather on a business or maybe even be a personal level, because I never know that a friend that I have or may end up meeting over the internet could lead me in a path to getting the job opportunity that I want in my life, setting up an interview for me, and having like mutual communication with this person may lead me in a broadened pathway to my future. I can also say that this does in some way influence my career goals because I have been wanting to do research on how people necessarily would manage relationships over the internet because I've had friends and family who've used online dating websites, and I've seen that some of them say that it is a great idea, but majority of them have said that some things can definitely turn for the worse just by the fact of similar to what the experiences I went through and dealt with as far as me meeting someone over the internet and getting the wrong perception of the person face to face versus meeting the person online. Just in a general understanding of the topic and my personal aspect about internet relationships, I feel like face-to-face communication can be way more effective because you can truly know the person and you can truly be physically intimate with the person, and which can potentially help you to understand that person and that person help you to understand yourself. You establishing a mutual relationship or even just a friendship with someone over the internet can be quite deceiving and can have a lot of like emotional and mental effects on people because you're not relatively in that person's presence to really truly know what they're about, who they are. But I'm definitely one that's really, really big on face-to-face communication, and that's just how I've been ever since my past experience. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed.